Hi, I'm Jennifer Jiggis with BERNINA of America, and it's a pleasure to have an opportunity to talk to you today about your serger. Today we'll be working with BERNINA's newest sergers, the 1150 MDA and the 1300 MDC. You'll notice as I talk to you today about the sergers that I'll use the word serger and overlock interchangeably because really they do refer to the same thing. If this is the first time that you've worked with a serger, you may notice that the threading paths are a bit different than what you're accustomed to seeing with your sewing machine. The difference between an overlock and a sewing machine is that the stitches are formed with two loopers, both an upper and a lower, in conjunction with two needle threads, as opposed to your sewing machine that works with one needle and then your bobbin. Your best friends as you begin working with your overlock are going to be your manual that you'll want to keep in a safe place nearby, and also your local BERNINA dealer. You want to be sure that you attend all of the mastery classes that they provide for you. As we take a look at the inside of your serger, one of the first things that you may notice is that there is a full color, coded, and numbered threading chart. And as we begin threading our serger, you'll want to refer to this as well as your owner's manual for step-by-step instructions on threading your machine. If you take a look in this area, you'll see both the upper and the lower looper, as well as the cutting blade. The cutting blade's job is to trim and neaten the fabric as the upper and the lower looper threads are thrown over and under the fabric and then secured in place by the needle threads. When working with your BERNINA overlock, you'll find that all of the knobs and the dials needed to make adjustments are right at your fingertips. Across the top of the machine, you'll find your tension dials. Your stitch length knob is here. Your differential feed knob is here, both external for easy access if you need to make corrections or changes while you're stitching. You'll find your cutting width dial adjustment here, and then you'll find the new patented MTC or micro thread control dial located here. Micro thread control gives you absolute control over the amount of thread that's let out into a stitch, correcting loops that can sometimes hang over the edge of a serged edge or to prevent tunneling that can sometimes occur. Your stitch tongue is here. This is retracted for your rolled hems or pushed forward for general overlock stitching.
Hello, my name is Hans Herzog. I'm a Technical Education Manager for BERNINA of America. I want to show you how the new serger works. In your machine you have two loopers. They're not much different than a regular hook in your sewing machine. We have a upper looper, which is this one here. The upper looper moves below and above the needle plate. And then we have the lower looper in red here, which only moves below the needle plate. Here we have a upper knife and we have a lower knife. The purpose of the knife is to cut or pre-cut the fabric before it can be bound by the upper and lower looper. With the needles on a downward stroke, as soon as the needles start to reach the lowest point and starting to move upwards, a loop is formed on the backside of the needle, and the lower looper enters into that loop, carries its own thread, shown in red, through the needle threads. The lower looper moves to the right hand side, and then the upper looper comes from the bottom up and picks up the lower looper thread. The upper looper carries its own thread and moves it to the upper leftmost position, and the two needles come down behind the upper looper to pick up the upper looper thread. When the lower knife is moved, the stitch tongue moves along and aligns itself with the cutting edge for precise placement of the upper and lower looper threads with the edge of the fabric. Tension compensation is not necessary. To compensate for various layers of fabrics and to create special effects, the stitch tongue can be moved individually by turning the MTC dial. With the new MTC, tension adjustment is almost eliminated. With this two sewing sample, we adjusted the lower knife from a setting number 1 to a setting number 5 without having to adjust the upper and lower looper tensions. This sewing sample was sewn on a serger without MTC. We can clearly see how the seam is collapsing, going from cutting edge 1 to cutting edge number 5. In order to compensate for this, we would have to decrease the upper and lower looper tension.
For many new serger or overlock owners, learning to thread the machine can be a more daunting challenge. If you remember to refer to your color-coded and numbered threading chart located on the inside of your serger, as well as the manual, you'll be able to walk step by step through this process. If you visit the BERNINA website, you'll also find some additional color-coded threading charts to help you with this process. To prepare for threading, rotate the hand wheel toward you until the red square is visible in the indicator window. You may also want to retract the knife just for a little additional room in this area as you thread your upper and lower loopers. To retract the knife, you want to grasp here and then rotate the knife back. Referring to your thread chart, you'll see that the first threading path is path number 1, which is your upper looper. You'll be threading all of the blue coated threading guides. Bring your thread up and over the thread stand. With the thread held in both hands, you want to wrap the thread around the guide and bring the thread tail down the front of the machine. And continue threading the thread through each guide marked by a blue dot. And then notice the small blue marking here, indicating an additional guide. And then finally through the eye of the upper looper. It may be easier for you to use your tweezers to bring that thread through the eye of the upper looper and under the presser foot. If you refer back to your threading chart, notice that the red path is the second path in the order of thread sequence. This is your lower looper thread. To thread the lower looper, begin by bringing the thread up and over the thread guide. With both hands, bring the thread through the first red thread guide and down the front of the overlock. Again, you'll be pulling the threads into each of the red guides. Notice the white lever with the red arrow. To thread the back of your lower looper, you want to push this lever down. Bring the thread through the guide indicated by the red mark and into the back of the lower looper. Press the lever back up to re-engage the lower looper. You'll then bring your thread through the eye of the lower looper. Pull it under the presser foot and to the back. The third path, indicated by the green markings, is your right needle threading path. Bring the green thread up and over the thread guide, through the first thread guide, following the green markings on your serger, through the guide, and then into the coil just above the needle area. Now, in order to thread the needle, you'll be thrilled to find that your 1150 has an automatic needle threader. Slide the lever to the right for the right hand needle. Bring the thread under the metal arm on both sides of the automatic needle threader and press down firmly. The thread will be pulled through the eye of the needle. You may want to use your tweezers to pull the thread the remaining distance through the eye of the needle. Bring the thread tail under the presser foot and to the back. Your fourth and final threading path is your left needle, indicated by the yellow markings. Bring your thread up and over the thread stand, through the first thread guide, down the front of the serger, into each of the yellow thread guides, remember not to miss the threading guide over here to the left. Bring the thread through the coil just above the needle, and then slide the lever for the automatic needle threader back for the left needle position. Bring the thread into the automatic needle threader, press down, and your thread will be pulled through the eye of the needle. Again, remember that you can use your tweezers to pull the thread tail the remaining distance through the eye of the needle. And then finally, bring that thread tail under the presser foot and to the back. Congratulations, your serger is now threaded. Remember at this point to re-engage your upper cutting blade. Press here and rotate the knife back down until it clicks into position.